streamline when they're at a hearing. Uh, Also, someone mentioned that if they have served in the military, that ought to give them a road right away. If you remember one of the series that we saw, that guy who was in the Marines and he still had his Marine uniform and he still fit in it. He was so proud of that. But anyway, children born in the U.S. certainly, and then someone else mentioned the DACA, the Dreamers, that they're either still going to school or they're working now because of their education. So and the children born here in the U.S. But most important, keep the families together. I think and I think that was mostly, and also a little bit of not priority necessarily, but recognizing LGBTQ people who come. So anyway, I think Maureen, if there was more.
I think Carolyn wanted to share something.
Oh, I was just going to say they extended the definition of family from the traditional family to, recognize people in partnership and same-sex marriages.
Rosa?
Thank you. I think Rosa was giving a sign of solidarity there. Yes, cheering, right? Absolutely. And just something to add, I was struck by really in the beginning, that extension to waive folks who were deported during previous administration. I thought I was happy to see that nod to practices that we disagree with from before. So thank you, first group, for having all that technical trouble. You did a great job adjusting that for us. Let's go to the second breakout room. I think Sally was in that one, and they're talking about prioritizing smart border controls. This one is a little stickier.
Yeah, this one, we struggled with this one a little bit. Part of this section talks about better and smarter technology to control the influx of drugs and other contraband, as they call it. And that, who can disagree with that? So yeah, that's fine. But overall, I guess the one comment that I just love that we had right at the beginning of our discussion was this section is titled Smart Border Controls. And Connie suggested, wouldn't we like to see the word, instead of smart, wouldn't we like to see it be humane border control?
Yes.
Which covers a whole lot of what we would like to see happen at the border. And so then we got, to talking about what is the Biden proposal for achieving a more humane situation for, as Vivian calls them, for our immigrants. They're ours. They're the ones that we care for and care about. And we want our immigrants, when they reach our border, to be treated with respect and to be treated humanely. And that's kind of the bottom line of how we viewed this second section. Other folks, jump in here.
I don't know if this comes under here, but I think that the one of the things that was mentioned in the last 2 days was also to start getting rid of the for-profit detention centers.
Yes.
And to me, that's one of the big ones, because that absolutely only feeds money to corporations. They do nothing to make it a little bit easier for the immigrants. They have them in these cages. They at one time provided just a little bit of education for the little kids. That was stopped. Just a lot of mean things that were done. So I think if we could get rid of those for-profit prisons, it would be great.
Yeah, Carolyn.
I wasn't in that room, but when I got kicked out, anyway, I was reading part of that section. And yeah, it's kind of disturbing that they're actually planning more funding for this smart technology. And we all know, for years, they've been spending huge amounts of money on those cameras that are actually spying on inside the United States. Plus, most of that technology has come from an Israeli company
Yeah.
that's also doing the occupation there in Palestine. So it's just, yeah, not a good section there.
Yeah. I found myself wondering if the Biden folks felt like they had to throw that in,
Yeah.
to have any chance of having this pass. I don't know.
Mm.
It's an improvement over build more wall for sure, but I don't know how much of an improvement.
That's a really good point, Sally. In the interest of time, I'm going to push us forward, and then if we have some extra time at the end, I'd love to hear more. But I want to make sure the third group has a time to share, because that was the focus on the root causes of migration.
Right, the root causes, which is really great. That was one of the points that was mentioned, that this was placed in the bill to look at the root causes. Concha started us off letting us know about, on a personal anecdote about some of the complications of going through the court systems, and for, people who've been pointed to be deported, but haven't been. It didn't really address that. There was a section on the courts and protecting vulnerable individuals. But I think that the section that deals with DACA and Dreamers might have a bit more. And it was also mentioned that the root causes were not explored enough in this section. And maybe it was looking at, maybe the Biden administration wasn't going to add in a mea culpa, like, we've been, the other point, we've been supplying arms to these governments in Central America and to Mexico, and that was not mentioned at all. And so that's another point. And then Kitty, I want to give Kitty word because she did bring up some points, and being in Nicaragua, I think that it's better coming from her. So Kitty?
Well, just one thing. I mean, I think the first paragraph is more about root causes, but I think it doesn't really explore those. And the other two sections aren't really about root causes, they're more about solutions, I think. And Nicaragua is notably absent because of now we're in the situation with a dictatorship, and there is no financial support from the US to Nicaragua as it is to the other Central American countries. But I think for me too, one of the issues is that money that's gone into arms and supplying and funding police and military in these countries. And the fact that it's a known fact that a lot of the drug cartels are really run by the military and police, especially in Honduras. I can't speak as much for Guatemala and Salvador, but so I think it's an attempt maybe to look at root causes, but I don't think it does a lot of really looking at or owning. Like you said, maybe they can't own it, but I think, as I guess I'm in the people's inauguration right now, and today we talked about our nation and how do we apologize? How do we change the things that we have helped to happen in other countries? So maybe it can be more of our discussion in root causes than it is in that particular, in the immigration bill or proposal. It's a start. I don't want to say it's nothing. Okay, it's a start.
And of course, we didn't have enough time. So I think, in each of these sections, it might be good to devote more time just specifically on one. And on the root causes, just to say that we are planning to have an immigration spotlight together with our partners at the UN, Loretto at the UN. To explore some of the root causes due to climate change.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be down the line. And of course, we can look more closely at this also because, you know, it's about arms control. It's about intervention. We're also going to be showing Harvest of Empire, and we'll be showing it as a community in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. Let me dig up the correct date, but we'll show it on a Wednesday, and then people will discuss it at an immigration spotlight on a Friday. And Harvest of Empire looks at U.S. intervention in Latin America and the Caribbean. And so that's looking at these root causes.
Mhm.
Uh,
Thank you. Thank you.
I wasn't in that group, but I do know that sometimes natural disasters leaves people with nothing. And that's one of the reasons I think there's a huge group coming from Honduras, because they've been hit by two really horrible hurricanes and they have nothing. And so that's why they're coming. Also, no jobs in these poor countries. And I also think one of the major things was the treaties that the US and Canada and Mexico arranged and didn't really consider some of the poorer countries, NAFTA and CAFTA and others. But, you know, the poor countries have no one to speak for them in a way. So I think, yeah, that's one. And I think when a country does suffer a disaster, as Honduras has, that generally richer countries have sent aid. I'm not sure if the US is doing that still.
Thank you, Alicia and Kitty and Rosa for those highlights too. I hear both Alicia and Kitty saying, you know, kind of how this is one step. It's not enough. We have more to say about it. We expect more of our leaders in administration. Well, something that LACC is going to make a habit in this year's spotlights is ending each one of these calls with an action. So yes, you know, we can talk about this for days and we have our suggestions, but what are we going to do about it, right? What's the so what? So today we're going to end our call by showing you one way to really efficiently contact our representatives and to share, you know, perhaps what Kitty was sharing, that yes, this is a start, but here's where we want to see more. So I'm going to share my screen with you here and explain what you're seeing. There is a platform called ResistBot, and it evolved out of 2016 and people's dissatisfaction with what was resulting from the election. And I encourage you, if you're interested, to Google ResistBot. You can read about how it came about. It runs completely on donations. And what you can do there is just through text on your phone, or if you're comfortable, you can even use things like Twitter or Facebook. You can craft a letter that is then sent directly to your representatives. It can be as long or short as you want. You can say whatever you want. But what the LACC did is our own Molly Kameen, who is busy working today, crafted this response so that we can all use a common voice to encourage our representatives to support this bill from the Biden administration. And so I'll give you a moment to look at the language there. Obviously, you see it signed by me. This is an example. And then I'm going to show you how you can sign your name to this exact language, and it will send to your specific representatives. So if you want to get ready with your phone, we can all do it together. Or if you'd like to listen, this is being recorded. We only have a few minutes, so we'll do this quickly. And then if you want to go back to the recording, or if you want to reach out to any LACC members, we'd be happy to walk you through how to send these messages. We all did it together in our last LACC meeting. So we know how to get through those hurdles if you run into any trouble. So what you'll want to do, if you'd like to do this now with us, is open up a new text message, just like you're going to text a friend. And instead of your friend's number or name, you're going to put in this number here. So it's 50409. That's the telephone number that you are going to text. And then in your message to the number 50409, you're going to type these letters. So sign, SIGN, space, and that's the letter PIHHXG. That's the message. And as soon as you send it, you'll get an automatic response. And you will be texting with this resist bot. And it will need certain information like your address to make sure it goes to the correct representatives. Some representatives require that you include a phone number or an email address, so it might ask you to put those in. So the first time you do this, there will be a couple extra steps. But after you do it once, ResistBot saves your information and you can send messages to representatives anytime, text away, and you won't have to give all that personal information each time. If you use this code, then your name will be signed to support Biden's immigration reform bill. And many representatives have an automatic response. So you'll probably get an email within 24 hours saying, thank you for contacting my office. We will get back to you. And I've had many of my representatives actually respond on topic after that initial response. Some of them don't. You probably know well who to expect a response from. But we hope everybody can take a chance and do this. And that you'll find this useful to keep letting your representatives know how we feel about actions in the new administration. And with that, that's just about time. I see some eyes going back and forth, so I want to leave this up on the screen if you're still working.
Now, once we do the sign in with that, then what do we hit? Or
so after you've sent those letters, the sign PIHHXG, it will text you back and it will ask for your name. It will ask for some more information and you'll go through kind of like you're texting a friend back and forth.
yeah.
And when it's finished, it will say, okay, you are signing this bill, click send or done. And it'll show you a little picture. It'll say sent. And then you can use that same text thread to start anew if you ever want to say a new message in the future.
Yeah, you want to support Biden.
But Stacy, I assume that if I want to do something else now, I put something other than sign PX, whatever.
You're exactly right. Whenever you want to start a new letter, you kind of wake up the bot by saying resist, just that word.
Text that word, resist.
And then it will say, hi, I'm ResistBot. What would you like to tell your representatives today?
And I can just type a letter right there, right then and there.
Yes, you can say, hi, and you don't have to say your name because that will always be attached, but you can say, I am writing because I am concerned we're not focusing on the true root causes of migration. Or you can say, I want different, you could speak to anything.
Also, Stacy, I remember the first time I did this, it told me that it sent me back a message saying it sent a 6-digit verification code to my email. So then I went to my email, got the code, and then I had to put it back in and hit send. And then it continued.
Right.
Thank you, Rosa. Yes, good memory. Because if it's your first time using ResistBot, it needs to confirm your identity. And so yes, that will happen the first time, but you won't have to go through all these steps every time.
Stacy, before we sign off, let's get some feedback from folks. How do they like this? What do you think? What do you think of this?
Great. it gives us something to work on, you know, the action part. So yeah, that's great.
I always appreciate this group because you have the knowledge and the energy and the motivation, and it's all good information as well as from the heart. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Carolyn, you going to talk to us? Can you unmute? Carolyn, unmute.
Very helpful, and I'm signer number 9 or something.
It says on mine that 14,332 of these have gone out in the past 24 hours. We're not alone.
Okay.
Wow.
Terrific.
Viv, you had your hand.
I want to thank you for all your work on this. I think it's just incredible. I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it.
I second
And I will
that.
follow through with.
I do too. I do too. I think what you're doing is amazing. I haven't really been able to be an active member, but I am so inspired by all of you and by what you're doing. I just feel like I'm kind of a learner right now.
Yeah.
This is Nancy. I would hope that you would send in great detail all of those directions to us by email.
Please do.
It was too much, certainly for me.
We can do
Get
that.
down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please do send that.
At our
Thank you.
LACC meeting,
Good.
Stacy
Thank
and
you very
Molly talked about putting out a 1 or 2 sheeter that has screenshots that would kind of walk you through. How do you go about doing this? Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Good.
I'm just so impressed by the group and everything else, and just amazed. I'm gonna continue my prayers for all of you in all of this situation, but thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank
For
you.
coming, Kathleen.
Viv, you're wanting to talk, but you're muted. No? Okay, all right, okay.
Would you please resend us the Biden bill? The
Oh, the
3-page
link.
thing that you sent? Would
Yeah.
you resend that to us?
Mhm.
Yes.
Is everyone on our LACC listserv? If you're not, you can let us know and then we'll add you because we send out everything there, but we can,
Do it. I
okay.
think we gotta do it for everybody right here now. you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do
And
that.
also do the listserv, because I know
All right.
Rox takes care of that. And she's busy all with
Yeah.
National Farm Worker Ministry all day today and tomorrow.
All right. So the way I'm going to record who's here, please everybody smile. I'm going to take a picture.
I love it.
Good. Thank you. Got it.
Oh my gosh.
Mark.
Okay, so can I make a plea, a pitch that you all think about who else would be interested in joining this undertaking that we have? We have many more people today than we have had in our immigration spotlights last year. I'm so happy to see everyone who has joined us. And as Stacy said, I'm not sure you picked it up, but we plan on, if we can, doing one of these action items at every immigration spotlight. Because there's always
Great.
something that we can be saying to those who are making these decisions in our names. So spread the word and invite other folks to come and join us. And they don't have to be Loretto members. We open this venue to anyone who wants to come and work with us on these issues.
And our next spotlight is February 12th, and that's going to be with Libby. And Libby's going to walk us through how immigration and climate change are together.
And the LEN, right.
Yeah, LEN.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, Carolyn, you had your hand up.
Yes, why don't you connect up with the link group, the political concern group? because immigration is one of the issues, and Mary Jean is on that, and teach that group how to do this, sending the message.
And invite that group to join us for our immigration spotlights.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, one of the things we're thinking of and are implementing is working with other committees in combination, like Gulf Laredo at the UN, the LEN, and now this is a great suggestion.
Link, yeah,
Link.
right.
What time will that be on February the 12th?
It's always at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Fridays Eastern time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
Okay.
The Harvest of Empire movie is at a different time, but we'll send that out. It's not at
Yeah.
11.
I have a question about that. Which one of you on that LACC found that Harvest of Empire?
Oh,
Well, we did some showing of it before, even years ago, before we even did.
I know, that's the one that
Yes.
was lost. I had, I'm
Well,
suspecting.
we found it on YouTube, so if you don't,
So you got it again, okay.
Yeah, so we're going to send out information. If you cannot join us that specific time on that Wednesday, you can go to the YouTube link and watch it on your own and still join Friday for the discussion.
Did you say which Wednesday, or is that to be decided?
I think
it's
that's to be-
February
oh.
24th, Wednesday, February.
February, okay.
I put it in the.
Okay.
And then the
Usually
following
it's
Friday, we'll
shown
have
around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern time.
yeah.
But we'll send out information.
Thank you.
Can I ask the LACC folks to stay on for just 1 minute? There's an update I need to give us. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
and
you all
just
so
to-
much.
Just to thank Stacy, she had to go back to work. So thank you, Stacy, wherever you are now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Kathleen. Bye, Marcella.